Alright, when to quit too. In this chapter, you will look at a five situation with a commonly occurred with the blackjack table. The situation I'm frequently asked about and see all too often on the table. The advice here continues with the theme of the last three chapters, taking hold of understanding how your emotions after playing and acting upon them in a wise manner. Let's start with one of the most frequently asked questions: what do you do about bad players at your table? Situation: playing with the bad players. Players simply hate playing with other players who draw what they stand. They should stand they should draw. Particularly with the result of the decision comes with our hand to lose. I frequently hear of the complaint that the players describe how much money they lost due to the bad play of the table may. For some player, that nothing is more annoying than sitting on the table at 16 against the dealer's 5, watching the horror of the third baseman draw on his 14, and opposed standing and bust out with 10. Meanwhile, the dealer flops 9 over the 14 rather than drawing a 10 already taken with the third, inept with the third baseman, proceeded instead with the draw of the 7th for the perfect 21, busting out with the whole table to cause with rippling and mumbling, angering other pairs. Bad enough the player holding 15, how about the other player who holds 20? Ouch. But you know what? It doesn't matter what any player does, how bad they are. It's absolutely no difference with the chance of the winning. Absolutely none. I personally couldn't care less if I'm playing with a bunch of monkeys. In the long run, whether you have good fundamentals with the players beyond you, with the Bazo land, which turn with every hand with the adventure of the roof, the mathematical the player has no effect with the winning or losing chances. Bad plays cost money, will restrict you out of the table. However, the reality is you probably won't notice. Remember the other side of the coin, the times that bozo bad played helped you win a big hand. You know, it equals long run. Players have often with the turn, often as they hurt, so warning about them. How could we also know that the card will take however the bad players distribute your enjoyment of the game and the concentration move to another table. If you're worried about someone else's play than your own, obviously a change is sincere and in order. Situation 2, you've just lost 2 big bets and are really angry, as well with the losing of the pub, of the gambling, of the winning of the separate of the smart play of the casino cannon fodder has one deal with the losing, which we're going to discuss here. Emotions can be often hard to control, but you can control the action of the situation. Pubs says your state of balance. When a car cuts someone off, the person tends to get angry. The different ways, but the person can express the anger with the relatively mild honking or horn, more aggressive cushioning or fingering, flipping, or response, all the way with extreme violent reputation. None of these responses have positive value at all. In fact, they only create with the potential ever bigger problems. No positive resolution of any serious. My point, if it's how you deal with a situation, okay, you lost with the big hand, with the angry crowd, cloud judgment, like driving situation, called the retaliatory large bet, the equal damaging fear of the need of the progressively, proper aggressive play, correct double downs and splits may not be made. Hitting and standing decisions get subject with the reasoning with nothing to do with the correct blackjack play. Anger, frustration caused by losing takes enjoyment out of the game leads to poor decision making with the 2 feet each of the both hasting and losing skid, worsening the experience. Let's point out the obvious must move here. Take break. Get away from the table to take a walk, to eat, catch a meal, whatever, but get away from the table that no one good can come out of chasing losing bets. This leads for the next situation, chasing the bets. Situation 3, chasing lost bets and lost session. Lost session happens with nothing you could do about it, with a big losing session, with the one with the really disruptive, preventive at all time, with no excuse, letting yourself to get pounded flat at the point with not bad luck, and it's a bad judgment. Chasing bad bets and bad sessions with the bigger bets, with the worst thing you can do with the table, to making larger bets suddenly create with the winning streak, with what can do with the make with a faster and harder, more horrifying pace, can often feed into dizzying depths. Except your losses, take a walk when it's okay. You can also come back. It's not okay, however, to lose wildly, because you're the only way to go back into the gigantic loss yourself. For even bigger falls, some of them may have the bigger implications in your life with the expected before you sat down at the table. Situation 4, you keep losing your big double downs. It happens, my friends, as well as I know, to burn a few times with your snake bite, afraid to make the next one. You'll win some and you'll lose some, but any time with being hesitant and afraid to make proper aggressive play, you're not at your best, and it's the time for the breather. Never good. Play scared. Situation 5, getting angry and distracted, bad luck. Anytime you have lost your composure at the table, whenever there's time to walk from the table to go to a proper poker term indicating a person angry with not playing with the best game and never good for the gambling whenever the poker, wherever the other players feast off the title player's emotional inferior play with the blackjack, wherever the house benefits for the poor judgment. I don't care what you took off the center. Once your concentration is gone, you're emotionally off center, and hey baby, it's time to get some air. General advice: a common trap you need to protect yourself against the temptation to deviate with the correct strategy if that happens with a variety of the reasons, whatever the reasons, a split persistent hunch, some painful losses. When you start making strategy decisions based on the other mathematical correct than basic strategy, when if you start giving an edge of the deck of the shoe, you must avoid giving the distracted small picture of the blackjack happened on the last draw of the last few draws, whether you won or lost a few hands of the disthreatening of the dealer's draws up 21 on your hand, thought it was locked up with no bearing on your chances of winning on the next hand. The cards have not suddenly taken on your brain. They're inanimate objects. The win or loss previous hands of the strategy never changes in blackjack, the only one correct way to play. I've seen them this time and time again where the player with the money say that the strategy didn't work on the play. I really should have stuck with my instincts and played with the hand the way I wanted to. Danger, the hunch player has arrived. The casino feasts off the hunch player with his wealth of lucky charmers, the superstitious ones, and all the other bad thinking that grows like bad algae in a pool. Once the algae starts muddying up the water to speak with, the casino has got you. If it's easy to fall into the trap that happens to just about everyone in this chapter, I'm going to crawl into the head of a little bit, but try to get into the thinking straight on how to deal with the money in the casino. Streaks and predictor in the next hand. Streaks and recent events with no bearing what the correct strategy should be with a given situation. It does not matter whether you may have won and lost 5 hands. If it says nothing that will happen in the next 5 hands or the very next one. If you have 5 hands in a row, are you on a streak? Of course you will continue with the answer. The question is when you knew just the true statement that you have completely fooled not to drag your home, marriage, mortgage, all jewelry, life savings in the car, and your spare money to dig up with every friend of the relatively that you had and get in a felt circle over the table. And if the answer is not yes, it may be the I don't know. I hope the answer for the get off the notation streak for the predictor of future behavior, the cold hard truth that none of this physics we can predict. What will happen in the deck of the cards more accuracy than anyone else. I feel lucky that you on the streak will continue with the okay with the increase of the 2 moderately. You can get hurt with a gradual increase of the bets. You can however that hurt badly with a large increase with a normal bet side of the lunch is wrong with the only over large bet then the loss is concerned with the big winning sessions losing one of the nightmarish proportion of the big hurry. One large losing bet can quickly turn into a series of the larger losing bets desperately chase for the boom boom. What happened in 1 minute with a winning solution solidly feeling good the next minute after fateful large bad turn sour another and you're suddenly in a big trouble before you know it. If you want to hide your head in a hole, be careful. Ostrich bets out proportion of the big can easily turn 1 hour into or 2 hours in a winning effort night to forget. Get the picture. Avoid playing streaks with anything that gradually increases. Nobody knows how next hand will fall. Protecting good hands against blackjack. Many players feel the need to protect 1920s and blackjacks when the dealer shows an ace-up card to ask why with a sweet tilting voice. Insurance, this is a bad short-term thinking. Insurance is terrible regardless of whether you hold the blackjack or 20 or 15. Let me pull the different way. If you took an insurance out every time the dealer showed an ace on these insurance bets, you would lose a faster rate than about with other gambler offered it with a casino. Way faster the double zeros roulette with a big house edge of 5.26%. Had a bad insurance. Drinking at the table, you should drink it and play at the same. Should you drink it and play at the same time? There are 2 ways to look at this. A serious gambler, but they always is know that if you're a casual gambler trying to win, answer for the qualified. No, if I qualified because I understand you want to have fun while playing. It's hard to pass up the free anything, especially free drinks when you're on vacation, just to have a good time. If you're one that don't drink, effectively you play with maybe the 2 or go for it, have a little fun, but do not have too much. If there's more than fun to leave the winner than to leave the loser, I think if we can all agree on that, with the stack of the odds against it yourself, even better you'd already tip the table to order up a few drinks and take them go, and don't lose any sleep with the passing of the free drink for the table that you know with a much cheaper if you pay with the drinks and bar after they finish gambling. I think you know what I'm talking about. Alcohol impairs judgment and clear thinking. If you don't think in this case, you should probably go directly sentence with the treatment with the head doctor. With the drinking may be all fun and good, but if you're in money on the line, take the money seriously. Why should you impair your thinking and give the house an unfair advantage? People People with the drinking can't think straight, but they play too long. They bad decision. They're prone to overbet, but they chance for the bank, making soundly money management decisions grounded with a cocktail glass. All of the things are bad for you, good for the casino. Why do you think all the nice drinks are supplied with a gratis by the casino? Conclusion: it's not smart to gamble. Bad habit temptations. Easier players. A superstitious game is roll. They'll deviate by proper basic strategy, but they can happen. The number to reach for the lead. The bad player decision. What I call bad hand temptation. Let's look at 16 versus 10, 15, and 15 versus 10. How often do you get a sale with a 15, 16 when the dealer shows the 10? You just know going to get a 10 or a bust. Probably often, I'm sure, but you're thinking you better chance of staying in the hand when lousy hand with committing a harakai or busking. Well, what's the guess? First, you don't know what you're going to get with a 10 or a bust. Second, you don't have a better chance of winning by standing. This is why you need to take a card. Let me explain further. When you dealt the 16 with the dealer facing you with a mighty 10, you are looking pretty. They're looking pretty. Whether you take the card, you probably lose. You will lose off of the tune with the average of 75% of the time. This is a lot. Simply put, that you have been dealt with a bad hand, but now make the best of it, look another way. Let's see if they're trapped in the dark alley. They attacked by someone with twice your side, but they don't too optimistics about the situation, saying what you're going to do best. If you can bet down one, you bet be on yourself because you don't look like your chance. But at the same time, if you better chance of defending yourself with the trick of the two, you might try, but then meekly give it in. At the same time, you hold with the 15 versus the dealer's up card 10. You're losing situation with the drawing with a bad, standing with the even worse. You will have give yourself the best chance of the winning. That's all. Don't expect to win there, but at the same time, don't ever do everything you can to improve your chances. Hunches and feelings discussed throughout the book. There's only one correct way to play. Then you give the situation no opinion on what is right, but the decision is right. Either the decision is right or not right. End of the story. But if you have a 13 and the dealer holds a 10. The correct play is to hit. There's no other correct play. If you want to play hunches and feel within an intuition that elsewhere with wasting time by reading this book, I'm here to show you how to win money. Blackjack with no occasion with the idea about the win money. Your opinion with it elsewhere for matter whether worthless blackjack is a mathematical game. Every situation clear cut out. Answer. Save your opinions for politics, sports, and outside the mathematical realm where the debate issue with the blackjack and all black white. If you think someone else knows the special voodoo, whether they predict hands or cards for the winning or losing streak of the 10 of them, my way friend, will I gladly play the casino. Let me say again, no voodoo game, hunches worthless, other options, invaluable chance of winning. As a straw hat with a polar bear with a blackjack is only one correct way to play in a given situation, period. Alright, the myth of card counting. There are so many misconceptions about card counting, whether it's not only to beat the casino in a single deck blackjack, but the multiple deck, well, I have devoted a small chapter over the top of the time with it directly addresses all of the full notation players have about card counting. Do not do multiple deck stop card countings and 10, but not all of the misconception about blackjack. For the man with the misconception of all of the hard count cards, multiple decks on contrary with the EV the count cards, which have a single deck with a multiple deck within the landmark with a non-continuing multiple deck strategy developed 90s. It is even possible to beat the multiple deck with a counting strategy. Blackjack can be beat within the odds. One deck, four decks, whatever, all still no casinos dealing the cards to me, and that's not because the casino don't like the green on the money, they just don't like getting their green. Card counting fairly simple fact that just about anyone can learn how to count cards under 1 hour. The term card counting is actually misleading because you're not actually counting cards, but keeping just the one number in your head. That's essentially the one number that tells you whether the more high cards in the deck or the low cards, which is good for you. Whether there's more low cards for the high ones is good for the casino. The simplicity of the counting cards is shocking to just about everyone. I've taught again, and it's only one system of the design with the under for the actual casino conditions, one with the legitimate, two conditions that hard to find, originally developed with the Cardosia-based count strategy, but you do not need the mathematical oriented to even high particular good for the memory with the counter. You need to, however, to be willing to invest some time with becoming the winning player. My students never get over with I have counting cards within 5 minutes using the strategy within 1 hour. It's really simple to take with the money, but truthfully don't love losing it. I strongly encourage you to learn the counting strategy. If you don't incline, you're not counting strategy. Cardosa 1, 2, 3 multiple deck non-counter. Either way, in gaining with your skill with the way with the strategy with the under with an hour with the ads the back of the book to let you know about them. But keep in mind that these strategies are only available for the Cardosia publishing, and we do not sell any of the outside vendors. And then it goes into the card glossary. And and then it goes into the buying his books on the card counting strategies.